Okay, here we go, guys, for our next lesson. This is where we typically in class would be doing our temperature and moon calendar. And I'm going to add a few smartboard slides to this today. We don't usually have the smartboard slides for the moon calendar, but I'm adding a few things today because your poems and your songs, your shared readings for this week are going to have to do with the temperature, the weather, and the moon. So here we go. Weather, 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 and more weather. Just show me the weather. And I didn't hear you and I didn't remind you, so now this time I want you to do it with me. Here we go. Weather, 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 and more weather. Just show me the weather. And for today, I'm introducing you to a new clip, a new weather clip that I know you're going to enjoy, and it's going to get your mind ready to think about the weather and how the weather is always changing. If I can get my clip to work, here we go.
What's the weather? What's the weather like today? Like today? Look outside the window, look outside the window. Can you say? Can you say? It's a sunny day, sunny day. Go out in the sunshine, go out in the sunshine. Play, 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 play. It's a cloudy day. Better get a sweater, better get a sweater. If it's cold, if it's cold. It's a windy day. Let's go fly a kite now, let's go fly a kite now. Fly it high, fly it high. It's a rainy day. Better get a raincoat, better get a raincoat. It's all wet, it's all wet. It's a snowy day. Get your coat and mittens, get your coat and mittens. Burr, 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 burr. What's the weather like today? Like today? Look outside the window, look outside the window. Can you say? Can you say?
Okay, I knew you were going to like that new clip. I love that little jazzy tune. Now, as we move into our next smartboard slide, this is going to talk about our customary units that we use in the United States of America. We talk a lot about this when we're talking about measurement. Let's review, boom it out for me. 5 things we can measure: time, temperature, length, weight, capacity. Again, let me hear you with me. Time, temperature, length, weight, capacity. And remember, as we're measuring time, temperature, length, weight, capacity, we talk about customary units, which are the units we use in the United States of America. We talk about metric units that are used all over the world. In the United States, we're a little bit different because we use customary units, but we also learn the metric units. So in the United States of America, we use kind of a mix of both. I wanted to show you a map. The countries that are in pink are the countries that do not use the metric system as their main system of measurement. The countries in the green are the countries that do use the metric system as their main system of measurement. You can see more countries use the metric system than countries that use other systems. In the United States of America, we use a little bit of both, but most of us are most familiar with the customary units. So that's what we're going to start with today. When we're talking about the weather, we are measuring temperature. And the customary units are what we use mostly in the United States of America. And when we're measuring temperature, the unit for measurement in the United States of America is degrees Fahrenheit. And the reason you need to know your customary units for measuring temperature as first graders is because when you get dressed in the morning, when you're trying to decide what kind of activities will be good to do for that day, you need to know what the temperature, what the weather is kind of sort of going to be like. So here we go. Next slide. That's another customary units in the USA. Degrees Fahrenheit is what we say. So tell me hot, warm, cool, or cold. Don't be shy now, please be bold. That's the first chunk of my Mr. Thermometer. Now I've done this a little bit with you in class, but I don't think we've ever gone through the whole poem itself, which is going to be one of our new shared readings for this week. You have a copy of this in your packet that your parents picked up end of last week, or maybe even they might still be going to pick it up a little later this week. And this is called Mr. Thermometer. I'm going to ask you to listen the first time as Miss Sheppard reads this all the way through. Second time, I want you to come in and read it with me. Mr. Thermometer, here we go. Big ears. Thermometer, thermometer is what we need to measure the temperature, yes indeed. Customary units in the USA, degrees Fahrenheit is what we say. So tell me hot, warm, cool, or cold. Don't be shy now, please be bold. 212 is oh so hot. The water will boil in Mama's pot. 90 to 100 is too hot for me. I'll stay inside, just wait and see. 80 is very warm to me today. It makes my face red when I play. 70, oh 70, you are just right. You make me feel like dynamite. 50 or 60 feel rather cool. I wear a jacket when I go to school. 40 is very cold, yes it is. Riley gets her heavy coat and Jose gets his. When the temperature drops to 32 degrees, water turns to ice and we feel the freeze. Below 32 makes the children smile. Their snowmen will stay around a while. Now that you know my temperature song, you can get dressed all day long by Mrs. Sheppard. Now this is actually a slide that I used with my class last year, and I see one thing that I already need to change. I need to change that Riley, and I'm thinking about my number 1. That's my Mia. I'm going to change Riley to Mia so it fits my first grade class for this year. And then I'm going to change my Jose, and I'm going to change that to Coda. He's my number 2. So I'm going to change that little clip to 40 is very cold. Yes, it is. Mia gets her heavy coat and Coda gets his. And I tell you, Miss Sheppard, for the last couple of weeks, as we've moved to this having school at home instead of having school at Walton Academy, I've been quite the bit Fruit Loopy. So I'm not sure what I sent home in your poem, in your packet, but if you'd like to change that to Mia and Coda, that would be a good idea, or you can just leave it just like it is. Now you listen to me all the way through. Now I want to hear you reading with me this time. Remember, this is when we work on our fluency and also learning new things. Here we go. Mr. Thermometer, hit it. Thermometer, thermometer is what we need to measure the temperature. Yes, indeed. Customary units in the USA, degrees Fahrenheit is what we say. So tell me, hot, warm, cool, or cold. Don't be shy now, please be bold. 212 is oh so hot. The water will boil in mama's pot. 90 to 100 is too hot for me. I'll stay inside, just wait and see. 80 is very warm to me today. It makes my face red when I play. 70, oh 70, you are just right. You make me feel like dynamite. Oh, sorry, I was a little slow. 50 or 60 feel rather cool. I wear a jacket when I go to school. 40 is very cold. Yes, it is. Mia gets her heavy coat and Coda gets his. That sounds much better with my Walton Academy first graders from this year in it. When the temperature drops to 32 degrees, water turns to ice and we feel the freeze. Below 32 makes the children smile. Their snowmen will stay around a while. Now that you know my temperature song, you can get dressed all day long. By Mrs. Sheppard. I actually wrote that many years ago as I was teaching weather to my first and second graders to give them kind of a fun way to remember what the different temperatures feel like, because that's a little tricky for first and second graders when the meteorologist, who's the scientist that studies weather, when the meteorologist tells you what the temperature is going to be or what the temperature was that day, it was a little tricky for first and second graders, so I came up with that little poem to help them learn those tricky temperatures. Now, your next shared reading, your next poem goes into the metric units, and the metric units are what the countries in green or what most of the countries in the world use. So the metric units, we use these in the United States of America. Most of us do not use them as much as the customary, but if you go to another country, you will hear them talking about using the metric units, and that's why it's a good idea for you to know the metric units along with the customary. So if you do visit another country and they're talking about the metric units, you'll have a little bit of background knowledge on what they're talking about. Here we go. Metric units make the whole world spin. Everything is a multiple of 10. With metric units, we all can win. Metric makes sense through thick and thin. Now, our metric poem is a little bit shorter, and this is one that I didn't come up with myself. I kind of took some things I had already learned, and I added this little, it's actually a metric chant. And you're going to like this one because it's really short. This is another one of your shared readings that's in your packet for this week. This one is really short, and I like to add a few little fun things for you to do once we get rolling with it. Here we go. First time you're going to listen as Mrs. Sheppard reads. Second time I want you to do it with me. And then a little later this week we're going to add some motions to it. Here we go. Listening ears. Metric units for measuring temperature, degrees Celsius. 30 is hot, 20 is nice, 10 is cool, 0 is ice. Ice is a solid. It can become a liquid. It can become a gas, a gas, a gas. Now, the second time that we do it, I want to hear you with me, and I'm going to add some motions that if we were together in class today doing our temperature calendar and doing our poems together, these are some things we would be doing together in the classroom. So you might even want to stand up and get ready so that you can do this with me. Here we go. We're going to add some motions as you're still looking at the smart board, but you can be looking at my motions and you can be reading with me and doing this with me. Here we go. We start off like this. Everybody reach up. Here we go. Metric units for measuring temperature, degrees Celsius. 30 is hot, 20 is nice, 10 is cool, 0 is ice. Ice is a solid. It can become a liquid. It can become a gas, a gas, a gas. So that's another one of your shared readings that you will be illustrating this week. You can rewind and you can listen to that over again. I'm not going to do it again because I don't want this lesson to go too long. But you can rewind and you can practice that one again when you're working on your fluency this week. Now, the next thing I want to go to is moving into the moon. And we have done our moon calendar every day since the beginning of the school year. So part of this is just going to be review. We have moons, moons, and more moons. We all love moons. Let me hear you with me this time. Moons, moons, and more moons. We all love moons. Now, this is also in your shared reading packet for this week. I'm going to introduce you to the moon song. I'm not introducing you to the phases of the moon because we've been talking about that all school year. But I am introducing you to the moon song. And I'm going to let you listen as I pull up that clip. And this comes from the Have Fun Teaching website. We used this at the very beginning of the year when we did the scientific method song. So you can go to the Have Fun Teaching website at home. Let me see if I can pull up this song for you. Oh, forgot to shut down that marker. Another little bit of a Miss Sheppard glitch.
The Earth's moon orbits all around us. It reflects the light from the sun. These are the phases of the moon. Moon, 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 moon. The Earth's moon orbits all around us. It reflects the light from the sun. These are the phases of the moon.
When the moon is in between the earth and the sun,
Okay, and if you want to listen to that again all week as you're working on your moon song, you can replay, you can pause, you can go back and you can listen to it again until we get to where we can do that one without looking at the words, like some of our poems that you have memorized that we've worked on, our poems and songs that you've memorized that we've worked on earlier in the school year. Now, this would be a good time for you to go ahead and complete your temperature and your moon calendar. Remember, we do one calendar day per day, except for on Mondays. Mondays are our Monday is our catch-up day. Remember, on Monday we go back and we do Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So it takes a little bit longer on Monday. Remember, on Tuesday, we're going back and we're doing the day before, which is Monday. So we're always a day behind on our temperature moon calendar. If you've already done yours for today, A-OK. Don't go back and change anything. If you've already done yours and it didn't get done correctly, that's A-OK. We're just going to keep moving forward. I just wanted to add some of these clips and some of these new poems and songs for you today. And you can pull up this for the rest of the week as you're working on your temperature and moon calendar. You can also pull this up when you're working on that shared reading chunk that was in your packet. As I like to say in class, this would be a good stopping point for right now, a good time for you to take a little break. So we're going to actually stop here, and this is going to be a good stopping point for this lesson. We've gotten a new weather song that we did back at the beginning. We've gotten a new temperature song. We've gotten our Celsius chant, and we've added our new moon song. So this is actually our weather, temperature calendar, moon calendar, but also our shared reading for this week. You can see that our reading and our science and our math kind of all go together when we're working on these lessons in first grade. So, good stopping point for that lesson.